It sucks to have to sit here and say that I didn't meet my goals. But that said, running the New York City Marathon was one of the most amazing experiences of my life. It was so much fun, and there's it's hard to complain about any of it. I guess I'm just gonna start at the beginning, and I'm just gonna talk through this. I Unless there's anything crazy I mess up on, I'm probably not gonna edit this very much. I just want to get it all out in terms of the day, the race, everything. I'm not going to get into any of the before. If you're interested in anything that we did while we are in New York City, my last video kind of covers it, though. I guess I don't talk about everything, but just normal like visiting the city type stuff. But anyways, so the race day started. I started out heading towards my 8:30 ferry time. I left a little early, just thinking like I didn't know how long the subway was going to take or anything like that. I'm glad I did, because the subway train I was on, and I think like all of them, were completely slammed. It was like nuts to butts everywhere, and yeah, but everybody was in a good mood. Everybody was happy, and like with very few exceptions, everyone on the train was doing the exact same thing. So everyone was in it together. Then we got to the ferry terminal, and similar situation, big group of people, but it all moved really smoothly. The getting on the ferry was nice. The ferry itself is like, it's very roomy, like tons of seating, very nice. They didn't have the top deck open, so like we couldn't get up there, and like I wanted to get some sweet video from up there. Wasn't possible, but I hung out in the backside of the boat, got some cool shots of the city, and generally just enjoyed the ride. It was nice. I sat in one of the chairs for a while and ate some carbs and kind of fueled up. I picked up a box from Featherstone Nutrition and Believe in the Run. We're giving out carb boxes Saturday, the day before the race, and I signed up to pick up one of those. Went and grabbed that, and that's kind of was like the majority of my pre-race fueling was stuff that came from that. It included some graham crackers and animal crackers, couple bagels. What else was in there? I don't know, usual suspects type things. Nothing too exciting. So once we landed in Staten Island, we were all just sent off, the ferry, and kind of went through. It was actually odd. It was like a mall, like an outdoor, like kind of strip mall, but like it was like a mall that didn't have roof over the like hallways of it. I don't know. Weird. Never experienced a mall like that before. But anyways, that's where you land. And we made our way through that into the line of buses. And there's like, I don't know how many buses there were. There's probably like 20 or 25. And, kind of, what would you call that? Like a theme park style, or, like you're in the line for security at the airport, lines for each of the buses. You wait in those. The lines moved really quickly, and we just made our way through it. And there's like 25 buses come in, people load on them, they leave, 25 more hop right back in there, and it just keeps going. We had a rad bus driver. He wasn't messing around. I think he'd just done the route a bunch of times and was like, no, I'm not doing this anymore. And he took a bunch of shortcuts, and we got there really fast, and like came a completely different way than all the other buses. And it made it really nice for us. He probably wasn't doing what he should have been doing, but whatever. I appreciated him. So then we go through security. It's just a bunch of NYPD officers, and they just wand you with the metal detector. I ask you to pull stuff out of your pocket. I pulled everything out of my pockets, my phone and stuff, and my GoPro. And he asked me about the GoPro. We kind of talked about it for a few minutes. He's like, "Oh, how are you going to carry it?" I'm just like, "I'm just going to carry it." I put a stick in my pocket. He's like, "Oh, okay." But he was very nice, and that took all of 2 minutes, and then just walking our way into the starting village, Fort Wadsworth, which was very well organized. So many porta potties. The lines were, they were long, but they moved really quickly because of just the quantity. There was everything you've heard: Dunkin' Donuts, coffee, Gatorade, blah, blah, blah. No lines for any of that. It was quick and easy. You just walk up, grab some, go. With the Dunkin' Donuts coffee, there's somebody there to pour it for you. And yeah, it was super nice. I didn't get any food, I believe there was. But I did grab a Dunkin' Donuts toque for Emmett, and I wasn't sure if I was going to be able to carry it with me all the way. Just, it's a toque, so I'm like, oh, is it going to be like real fluffy and like, but it wasn't. It's like pretty thin, but it's nice. It's got the marathon logo patch stitched on it, and I thought that'd be a fun souvenir for him. So I rolled it up nice and tight and stuck it in the back pocket of my half tights with my phone, and there it rode for 26.6 miles to the finish, and then I gave it to Emmett. So in the starting village, I walked around, I got some coffee, got some Gatorade, and I used one of the porta potties, and then I just kind of cruised to check the lay of the land. I wanted to see where my corral was, so I was prepared for that. And at the time, they were calling wave 3, and I was like, okay. So, and I got over by my corral, and it was pretty chill over there. Like, there was a nice grassy spot, but there weren't a lot of people. So I was like, well, this is as good a place as any. I grabbed a bottle of water and just decided to post up there. I put down my trash bags and kind of spread out, got comfy, and I'm hanging out there. And I'm within 5 feet of the entrance to get into the corral. And there's two women volunteers wearing they're like bright pink New York Runners shirts or jackets, and they're like, okay, yeah, you're good. And there's a lot of conversation of like, oh, I was in wave 2, we want to run together, yeah, cool, blah, blah, blah. So there's a lot of that going on, and I'm just like sitting there watching basically. And these two young women walk up, and there's like kind of a hushed conversation, and I get I didn't like hear it, but I get the gist that one of the women was in wave 5, and they were kind of asking like, can we do this so we can go together? And the woman was like, yeah, just go. And I was like, oh, hello. And so I got up and just asked her. I was like, hey, I'm in wave 5, but I'm intending to run much faster than that wave is going to. Would it be possible if I could jump in here? And she's like, yeah, go. And I'm like rushing to get my things together. She's like, take your time. You're fine. You got plenty of time. Just get your things together. Your trash bag right here. You can throw away or donate your clothes inside. It's good to go. And I'm like, cool. So I take care of all that. I go in. I use the porta potty. And then it's just really just standing around. But I was excited. It was a really big relief to be able to go with wave 4. I've had at least one person comment that they were disappointed in me that I did that. And honestly, I completely understand the argument that, the race organizes things in a way, and it, if everybody did that, it would hurt the structure and cause a little bit of chaos. But it made sense for me in my situation and would allow me to have the best race I could in those set of circumstances. And so I went for it, and I honestly don't have any regrets. So I ended up, I was in the blue and Corral C, which once they released the corrals to start walking towards the finish line, it's kind of a free-for-all. Like, you can, chill and just walk up, or you can kind of take the speedier path if you so choose. So you can get yourself up to further corral if you really want to. When I was a young man, years of going to Bonnaroo's and concerts, I'm pretty talented at making my way through a crowd. And so by the time I actually got to the starting line, I was probably 10 feet back from the actual starting line. And I especially, once I got to close to the starting line, I could see that the closest pacer was 4:15, and that they were pretty close to the starting line. I'm like, okay, so I need to be up there. That makes the most sense for me. Well, really would make the most sense for me to be in wave 3, but it is what it is. So I get my way up there, and the blue is, I don't know, obviously I didn't experience the other two, but blue is fantastic because you're right near the stage. I was right there to see the national anthem and the announcer, and he's talking to us and like making it fun. And then it's like, with not so much ado, the cannon goes off, and it's surprising, and it's a lot louder than you think it's gonna be, and it definitely made me jump. But then we were off and we were going, and I took it normally, easy. Like, I wasn't holding back too much, but I just took it easy. I don't even know. I was probably in the 9:15-ish going up the hill, 9:15, 9:30s going up the hill of the Verrazano Bridge. And then, and as we got up the bridge, like kind of to where we crested it, I noticed that like it was me and just like a handful of other people. There were some people speeding by me, like definitely like people that were like planning to have a faster day. And but for the most part, I was like out ahead of most of the wave, and had plenty of room to run. It was nice. It was very quiet. I feel like people haven't really, I guess people talk about how like the crowds going up the bridge and all that, but for me, my experience was that it was very quiet. There was like a sheriff or something. I don't know. Maybe you've been a parks person. I don't know. But he was sitting in his truck blaring Fleetwood Mac, and that was like the noisiest thing going on. So it was really nice. And then coming down the hill, like obviously I sped up, just taking advantage of the hill, but I didn't want to like gun it or anything. But I let my kind of body roll with the hill, the downhill, and cruised on into Brooklyn. And even like, you're not even like off the off ramp of the bridge, and there's already people there. And there's a sign, "Yo, welcome to Brooklyn," which I really enjoyed. And then you just start going in Brooklyn, and blue is pretty nice because it's pretty like straight shot. I feel like the other one two kind of have to weave their way back to you. And but yeah, it was really enjoyable. And then those first couple miles, I had my name on my shirt, which is a big recommendation. I heard that a bunch, and that's why I did it. But I can't speak highly enough of it. It's, if you are the type of person that would enjoy people cheering specifically for you, it's fantastic. From those first couple miles, people were already, there was probably 20 people cheering my name in the first like mile. There were people. Obviously the first two there aren't. And it just keeps getting more and more and more throughout. So I'm cruising in to Brooklyn, and actually, funny anecdote on the name is, so there's a bunch of people like, "Kyle, yeah, Kyle," and this guy running next to me, he's like, "Are you famous?" And I was like, "No." He's like, and he's just like, "Oh." I'm just like, "I didn't see your name," and I was like, "Yeah, like I read on a blog somewhere that I should wear my name on my shirt and people would cheer." And he's like, "Yeah, that's a really good idea." And so, but yeah, for a second there, I was famous in his eyes, so that was fun. But Brooklyn in general, I'll just get out of the way to say, it was my favorite part of the race. Not just because I'm like feeling fresh and good, but like, to me, those were some of the best cheering sections. Even the parts that was kind of sparse, like there was like fewer people, those people were really enthusiastic. They were excited to see you. A lot of individual encouragement, and just outside of like "Go Kyle" is like it was a lot of "Hey Kyle, I see you," and pointing at you, and like there was like a connection. And that's the thing with the name on your shirt. It's more than just hearing like, yeah, go Kyle, go Kyle. It's someone yelling your name and you having the ability to lock eyes with them, make a connection, and smile at them and show them that you appreciate the cheering. And it's just, and in like I had a smile on my face literally the entire race. Maybe not the end. I think I was a grunt on my face at the last mile, but for the most part, I was just like floored by everybody cheering. But cruising into Brooklyn, and it was mostly kind of uneventful other than like just the happiness of it. The first thing of note, I would say, is probably around mile 10, which was honestly my favorite. I think that had to have been my favorite part. It's like Brooklyn, and there's like brownstones, and there's just so many people on the street, and they're almost encroaching on the road, and everybody's cheering like crazy, and it's so much fun. You can see they're having fun, and it lets you relax, and you're happy and enjoying it, and they're screaming for you. So many young women told me I was hot. It's very good for the ego. And so that was the part of the race I enjoyed the most, but it was also the part of the race where I noticed there was something funny with my left foot. And I didn't know what it was. It didn't hurt. It just felt like there was like almost like a weird turnover in my toes. And I didn't know what it was, but I just felt it, and I was like, okay, whatever. I thought maybe I had like cracked the plate in my shoe or something like that. Like, and it's just like there's a chip and it's like a hinge or something. That was like the best thing I could come up with because it just felt funny. But it wasn't enough for me to like want to stop and investigate or anything like that. It was just different. From there, we made our way into Queens, and Queens honestly was mostly uneventful. It was fine, just kind of what it was. It was like kind of the preamble to it. Like it definitely changed in like the overall vibe of it. Like, I don't know, maybe seemed a little more industrial just in terms of like what's around you. But in general, it was like there was still plenty of people cheering. It was great. But it was just different. Yeah. And I don't like have anything that exciting or interesting to say about that part of the race, but it was still very, very nice. And then we get on to the Queensboro Bridge, which kind of snuck up on me. I was like, oh, we're here. Okay. And so we go into the Queensboro Bridge, and this was the first spot in the race where I ran into some trouble, people slowing down. Now, I definitely slowed down, but people on the bridge were going kind of crazy slow from my perspective of like because like everyone that I'm running into most likely was a wave 3 person. And so I'm kind of struggling, like, it's like a little like, all right, weave in, okay, here. And like, and I was probably going 9:30 up the Queensboro. And then going down, it actually, I'm sure people sped up because they're going downhill, but it got easier going down. And then we eventually make our way down the off ramp and into whatever that side street is, and then onto First Avenue. And I will say, and maybe it's because everyone hyped up First Avenue so much, it was kind of like I was expecting like just raw. It was kind of a letdown for me. It was, oh wait, I need to back up. So the Queensboro Bridge, I don't want to act like it's not hard. It is a hill, and it's at mile 15 and 16. It's hard work, but people make it seem way harder than it actually is. It is just a hill. It's not even the steepest grade in the whole race. It's just a hill. You can do it. Anyone that is running New York next year, or the year after, don't worry about it. Just run hills when you're training. You will be fine. Slow down a little bit. You will be fine. It is not a big deal. You can do it. Okay? I was so like disappointed by, I was just expecting it to be so much worse because people just are like, oh my God, Queensboro Ridge. It's fine. It's just a hill. Anyways, so back on First Avenue. It's huge, and First Avenue really shows you the scale of the race. I think that's the biggest thing to do, is because, so now First Avenue, now you've got the big barriers. You've got, and there's tons of people there, but the roar wasn't really there. And I think maybe that is because of the proportion of it, because when you're on First Avenue, it's basically like a 6-lane highway. I don't know, it might not be 6 lanes, it's probably 5, but it's a big road. And so there's a lot of separation between you and the crowd. Whereas when that back at like mile 10 in Brooklyn, the people are right on top of you. So it's like way more intimate. Whereas First Avenue, it's, I guess if you're going to equate it to a concert, it's like an arena. Whereas back in Brooklyn, it's more of like a smaller venue, like a club show. And, to me, I enjoyed the club show more. But First Avenue is like, the scale of it is huge. There's like marching bands and all kinds of stuff, and but tons of people cheering, and it was nice. But it was also at that point is where I really started to, I got a taste of like people slowing down in front of me on the bridge. But First Avenue is like really where it came. But like, it's big enough that like you can kind of make your way through everyone, and it's not such a big deal. But it's like everyone in wave 1, 2, and 3, but like honestly probably not so much 1, is everyone that's having a bad day is now having a bad day right in front of you. And it just creates a situation where not only is it physically taxing because you're having to, I ran 26.6 something according to my Strava, because I had to make a lot of lateral movement. And a good portion of that is due to having to go around people, because, my natural inclination, if I was to stop and walk or even slow down considerably, I'd move off to the side. People do not have that. Other people do not have that inclination. They just, wherever they are, that's where it's happening. And that's okay. Like, I'm not like begrudging those people. It's just like, it just had an effect on me, and that's okay. So it just and that just exponentially got worse the further or the closer I got to the finish. So as we got into the Bronx, then the streets got tighter and it became a little more difficult. And also there's more twists and turns in the Bronx. So you're moving a little bit more, and then so I'm also making a turn, but also may I have to go this way to get around these people. And then as you get on to Fifth Avenue, it's basically the same deal. It's a bigger road, but people really encroached on Fifth Avenue, I felt like, and it just it felt tighter. And also don't get me wrong, my legs were tired. I was 100% would have run slower than I did earlier in the race. I think had there'd been no obstacles, I think I probably would have run 9 flats is my guess at that point in the race. So that's mile 22 to, I don't know exactly. I'd have to look at it. But anyways, those early 20s, that my legs were just toast. They felt toast. But I also felt mentally, I was I need to run hard. I want to run hard. And I was I was physically capable of it, just wasn't, it was super taxing to get that stop and go. It's you start going you end up behind, like where you like having difficulty finding a hole, and then so you have to slow down. Then I'm going like 10:30, and then I get a hole, and then I have to accelerate, and those accelerations are hard. And it's also mentally taxing to continually be looking for a hole to get through. And it's just like you're physically tired, you're mentally tired, and like if you could just head down and run, like it'd be considerably easier, obviously. But all of this, I feel like I'm doing a lot of complaining, and that's not my intention. I just want to explain like a challenge of the New York City Marathon, especially in that later period when you are tired, is there's gonna be greater obstacle in terms of like the mass of people, just because it's 51,000 people are running this thing. And especially if you're a later wave, there are going to be more people in front of you that are going to be slowing down or whatever, because, and like with every right to, like not everybody's going to have the perfect race every time. And they still have a right to like trudge on and finish the race 100%. And so but it is a challenge. So it's a matter of like, be prepared for that, and then know you have to have a little extra in the tank in order to handle that, or just be happier with a slower time, which everybody tells you to just like run and be happy with New York anyways, which is, I think, completely valid in terms of race, because it's a good race to run and be happy with. And I will say, is like, even while I'm dealing with these challenges, there's still people cheering my name, pushing me on, rooting for me, and it felt really good. And I think it didn't, when I got into the park, like I'm at like mile 24, 25, that's probably the first time I was like, oh, stop yelling my name. And not because like I didn't appreciate it, but just because like I guess it was just like overexposure at that point. And I'm like just tired, and I'm like in like finish it mode, and just exhausted. And so it's just like I just want to put horse blinders on and go. But the park was, in terms of like that mass of people, was the most difficult. It's like it's a skinnier part of the race, and then also it's the people really encroach on it. There are parts with fencing that helps with that, but there's other parts that are not. But I need to back up. Damn it. I'm really struggling with this. I should have maybe wrote something down. And I feel like this is going to be long and rambling. People probably won't watch it, but it's fine. It's fine. Fifth Avenue, another hill that people like talked on and on about. It's a hill. It sucks, but it's not a big deal. I did my normal I hate hills mantra, which I won't, well, I don't know. It's fuck you hill, fuck you hill, fuck you hill, fuck you hill. That's my mantra as I'm going up hills that I don't like. Yeah, but that's it. Like, and then it was over before I knew it, and then you move on. I would say a much more difficult hill, but still fine, is the hill up to the finish at like the 400 meter mark. You start going uphill, and that's hard because you're physically tired and everything, but like the finish is right there. So you're just like, I don't care. And you go, and honestly, you don't even think about it that much. But to me, the single hardest part of the whole race was that stretch from when you exit the park to the other side, to like Columbus Circle, when you go back into the park for the finish. It's a long straight stretch, which is nice, but like it felt like it went on forever, like literally forever. And I was pushing hard at that point, because I was looking at my watch, and I'm like, oh man, I am not going to make it. Little did I know that I was already not going to make it, but according to my watch, I don't know, it was off with the timer by a little bit. And so, but I was pushing hard, like maybe if I push hard, I was like, for that stretch, I was able to get on the outside, and I had kind of a clear lane. And I think I went like 7:30 at that point, trying to make it up. But then when we turned back in the park, I couldn't maintain that. And I think I dropped back down to like 8:30, 8:45s. But but I crossed the finish and I was so happy and a little delirious. My hands and feet were like buzzing, not like, not numb, but just like buzzing. And I don't even know why. I don't know what. That's how I felt. And it eased as like I stopped. And I looked up, they have clocks for each wave of like, if you're in this wave, this is your time basically. And I assume that is based on like the Canon go. And, obviously I'm like slightly behind that, but not too much behind it. So I look up and it said 4:03 something. And I was like, okay, well, I didn't do it. I later look and my official time, if anybody that doesn't know, was 4:02:29. My Strava still says I ran a marathon in 3:58. So I got that going for me, which is nice. But so I didn't accomplish the goal of being under 4 hours, which was like my like baseline goal. But I'm still really happy with it. I'm happy because it's a 52-minute PR, first of all. And I'm happy with the effort I put in because I know, given slightly different circumstances, I could have run that race faster. Maybe if I was in wave 3 I could have run it faster. I don't know. I wasn't in that wave, so I don't know what that experience was. But maybe if there's less people in front of me that were having a hard time, maybe I run it in a time that I think I can. If I had to guess, if I perfect day, like I don't deal with the struggles I dealt with, like in terms of like having to work around people, if I had to guess, I would say 3:54, 55. I think that's probably where I was. Like in terms of like my fitness and the day, how I felt on the day. But that's just a guess. There's no that doesn't count for anything. It just is what it is. But what it is not meeting your goals means one thing, is I get to go after them again. And not that I'm not going to like go after more, because I am. But I am so pleased with how I ran and how I trained to get there. And I'm excited to do it again. And I guess that brings up the question of what is next. And it's a multi-part answer. Is in a couple different arena. First of all, like my big goal in long term is I want to lose more weight. And the primary driver for that is I think of something I've talked about before, is from what I've seen and what I've experienced is you can expect a 1 to 2 second per mile decrease in pace per pound lost. And so right now I'm in the 2 teens. I'm probably heavier because I'm enjoying whiskeys again and, haven't run that much in the past 2 weeks and kind of enjoyed myself diet-wise, just because why not? I deserve it. And so that, to me, if I had to guess, if I had to guess, my ideal weight is probably in the 180s or close to 180. And so that says to me, I've got 35-ish pounds to lose. And so if it's 1 second, then that's 35 seconds. If it's 2 seconds, that's 1 minute and 10 seconds. That's significant. Both of those, even if it's just 1 second, 35 seconds is significant. That's the difference between running an 8:50 something or a 4, let's call it a 4 hour something, and running, what would that be? 8:30. So, like a 3:45 or 3:40, depending. So that's significant. So that's like kind of like the overarching is I want to lose weight. So I'm gonna dial back in my diet, and I'm thinking I'm gonna like. Last time I was kind of relaxed in how I did my diet. I think I'm gonna like put a stronger effort in it and thinking about like how exactly I want to do that. Rather than like last time it was just like, all right, I'm gonna stop doing all the stupid crap I do, like eat candy and drink and stuff like that. This time I'm gonna like concentrate more on food. Along with that is training that's also going to benefit it. The training I'm going to do is I'm going to start incorporating more gym time. I would probably be less miles just purely because in terms of time, it's either one or the other. So I think I'm thinking about 2 days a week. I'm going to go to the gym, do some lifting. One, I think it would be good for strengthening my feet and legs for running. And two, I think, it's good for overall health and also good for weight loss. In terms of training for specific events or races, short term, my wife and I are running a Christmas like a reindeer run 5K on the 15th of December, which I'm going to try and run hard just because why not? Also want to run it in a Santa hat and beard possibly, but I don't own those things, so we'll see. The next race I have planned after that is the Krispy Kreme Challenge. A couple guys from work asked if I wanted to do it, and it sounds like a lot of fun. If you're not familiar, I recommend Googling it. But essentially, you run from North Carolina State University 2.5 miles to the nearest Krispy Kreme. You eat a dozen donuts and then run 2.5 miles back, and you try not to vomit. And so I'm gonna try and do that one, and I'm definitely like not gonna be the fastest guy because people do it in ridiculous times. It's kind of crazy, but I'm gonna try and run it as fast as I can, and I'm more worried about the donuts than the running. But those are the two big short-term things. I do plan on doing a spring marathon, but I'm thinking it's likely just going to be something local. There's the Tobacco Road Marathon that they do here in Cary, and it's flat and convenient. So that seems good. And my wife and I were talking about her maybe wanting to do a half. She's not sure, so and I don't want to pressure her, but it's something she mentioned that she was potentially interested in. So if she wants to do that, we could do the same one or not, or I could just cheer with the kids. And but yeah, we'll figure that out. And so like none of that is set in stone, but that's just something that I'm thinking about. And the other thing is for next fall, I put my hat in the ring for Chicago. That is a big question mark because we'll know on December 7th, I think they said. But yeah, I mean, it has a better rate. It has a better selection rates than New York. So I don't know. Maybe I'll be running Chicago next year. And if not, I'll figure something else out. But I got some time on that. But I definitely want to try and run a race where I can keep improving my time, keep working hard, lose weight. That'll help me improve my time, and then you compound on that the work I do and put in that work, and should make things go real good. I hope, I'm like reluctant to say this because I feel like it's a really big goal. It's like this is a stretch goal for sure. And I feel like you put something out here like this and then like people, I don't know, judge you for it or whatever. But anyways, I kind of want to see if I can qualify for Boston before I turn 40. Not for any real reason other than it's an arbitrary, goal line for me. That is also when, the times get adjusted. So it becomes slightly easier. Still not that easy, but slightly easier for me. I'm 38, if that helps, think about that. So I turned 38 in September. So it's like a year and change, which based on running a 4-hour marathon, taking a whole hour off, plus probably a little bit based on, what they had to do this year. Yeah, it's a pretty big challenge, but we'll see. Maybe I can do it. But thank you for everyone that has came all the way through this journey of training for New York. The channel's not going to go away. I know it was like hyper focused on me training and preparing and then eventually running New York City Marathon. But I'm going to keep doing it. It's going to be mostly similar. I think I'm going to do my weekly training. But obviously I think every week I try and mix in a broader subject that I think is of interest. And I've got a couple little experiments on my running kitch that I want to do that I'm probably going to make videos about. And so, yeah, we'll see how it goes. If there's anything you want to see, let me know. I'll think about it. I'll try. Oh, there's a bug coming for me. All right, well then I'm going to get out of here before this bug gets me. All right, see you next week.